Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hope everyone's doing okay. Greetings from Florida, says Amanda. Okay, so this is two cases in one stream. So the first bit is going to be about Madalina Cojocari, who is the 11-year-old girl. She was 11 at the time. She will have turned 12 by now. Who has just vanished off the face of the earth. This is from Cornelius in North Carolina. So we're going to do her case because there's some new court documents that have come out, which I find quite interesting. The court documents themselves, I can't find anywhere on the internet. Apparently, they're only released on request. So it's a media outlet who has requested them, but has not yet made them public. Sometimes media companies will request documents and then they'll make them available via document cloud or something like that. But that doesn't appear to be the case in this instance. So I'm going off what the media company who got these documents has said about them. And it's a whole bunch of search warrants that they've got their hands on, and it's revealed some interesting details. The second part of this stream is going to be about Carlee Russell, and there is a press conference that is happening in about an hour's time. It's 2:30 Central Time, which will be 8:30 my time. So we're going to get Madalina's case done and dusted, and then we can talk about the craziness that is the Carlee Russell case just ahead of the press conference. And then hopefully we'll be able to listen to the press conference together. I know there's a bunch of channels going live right now. There's a bunch of channels already live talking about various things. So I'm guessing that the numbers in this stream aren't going to be high, but that's fine. That's okay. As long as we all get the information. I guess it doesn't really matter where we get the information from, does it? All right, so let's start with Madalina. First, actually, we'll say a few hellos and just give people a chance to come in. If you've been watching another stream and then you notice I go live, sometimes, occasionally people will jump over. Hello, Sandra, Aussie TV, Holly, Teffy. Are you going to be replay crew? That's fine. Hello to all the replay crew. You're just as important as everyone else who joins us live. I'm always replay crew on everything that I watch. Linda, watching Scammers Playback. Oh, I don't know what that's about. As I said, there's a whole bunch of channels all up and talking about various things that I've not got a clue about. There's apparently some drama going on in the Summerwells case. I'm just ignoring all of it. I don't have time. Your local grandmummy. Oh, painful. Recovering from a 28-hour migraine. Oh, that's harsh. Hi, Stacey. Yeah, that's one conclusion that can be drawn. Having not seen the documents themselves, I can only infer via the media. But that's one thing that is being talked about. Yes. Yeah, apparently that is the case, that there's a chunk missing. I mean, the thing that was released originally, by AL.com, and they released about 4 minutes, that's all. So I know Gray Hughes purchased a longer version of it. So all we saw in the brief version was Carlee's car kind of pulling along the shoulder with her hazard lights on, stopping for a bit, and then it kind of stopped as the law enforcement, you saw the blue lights kind of coming along. So whatever was edited out of that, I don't know, and don't know why it would be edited. I mean, it was not that clear anyway. So if something had been edited for purposes of law enforcement, well, that's good. I'm glad that they didn't release something if it's eventually going to prove important to the investigation. But we should know more. I'm hoping at least we should know more in just under an hour's time as to where the investigation's headed. I hope they give us some indication, because I don't want to speculate very much. That's why I've not done a video about that case in a couple of days, because I don't want to speculate on... I speculated as much as I felt comfortable with in my last video, which was a couple of days ago, where I said, well, okay, well, regardless of what happened to her, where did she go and how did she go? Like, whether she was abducted or not, whether she left the scene consensually or not, how did she get away? There has to be another person involved. There absolutely has to be another person involved to get her away from the scene, because law enforcement turned up within less than 5 minutes after the 911 call. And there was loads of them out there. I mean, it was swamped with cars and drones and a helicopter and dogs. If she was on foot, she'd have been found very quickly. So she either had to go into a house in that neighborhood that's just by the kind of the right-hand side. There's like a tree line that people are calling woods. I mean, it's not a very thick woods. There's a few lines of trees, that's all. And then a neighborhood kind of down a shallow hill. And there's a bunch of really nice looking houses. Like, I've gone through it on Google Maps and it's right in a nice neighborhood. So she's either gone into one of those houses or someone has driven her away. So I'm not going to speculate any further than that until I hear from law enforcement. So hopefully, I really, really, really hope that they give us some indication about where the investigation's going. And if nothing else, it'll stop some of the speculation. Hi, Barbara. Yes, WFLA. I'm going to be using WFLA to stream onto this channel because they tend to have a good stream. So I'll be using WFLA if they've got a good stream up. When I like Hey JB, so I'll go back and listen to what Hey JB has to say about it afterwards. I do like him. Hi, Tio. Oh, you're recovering from a bad concussion. Oh, wow. Headache for 3 days. I got a concussion. I fell, like I fainted and fell backwards and hit my head on the back of a desk. This was about 5 years ago now. And I only had a headache for a day, but it changed my personality for about 3 weeks. Like, completely changed my personality. I felt young again. I felt angry all the time, like I wanted to fight someone all the time, which was how I felt when I was young. So I actually quite liked it. I was a bit sad when it stopped. Hi, Shazza. Angie, baby. Not that I'm belittling or reducing the importance of getting healthcare. If you do have a concussion, it's really important. You can have a bleed on the brain and all sorts. Just because I was silly and didn't doesn't mean to say you should be silly as well. Don't take anything I say as medical advice, please. Hi, Melissa, Stephen, Amanda, Trina, Momsamo, Steph, Karen, Jean, Samantha, Sassy Southern Gal, and a bunch of people coming in now. All right, let's get on with talking about Madalina. Madalina, this is her. And there has been sightings, not recently, but sightings after what law enforcement believed was her last public sighting. So if you don't know... Oh, Bug Love, yes, you mod for WFLA. Say hello to Hey JB for me. I do like him. And I will be tuning into WFLA after to see what JB has to say about the press conference. and we will be streaming the press conference on this channel as well. So you don't have to skip to somewhere else to watch the press conference. We're doing Madalina first, and then we're going to move on to Carlee. Oh, you've got fibro, Trina. Oh, they thought I had fibro at one point, but then they decided I didn't. Anyway, right. So there has been sightings, but all of this information has come out from this these documents that were released to a media company, WBTV, News Channel 3, I think is the company that got them. They seem to have a good write-up on them. So this is out of North Carolina. So if you don't know anything about Madalina's case, if you don't remember this going down in December, it was just before Christmas that this all came out, and I did a stream about it when it was new, and then I've not followed it up because there's been nothing to follow up on. The parents, well, the mother, biological mother and stepfather, have been in jail. In North Carolina, it's illegal not to report a child that goes missing, so they got them on that, and they've been lounging in jail since all of this went down. So meanwhile, law enforcement have been working hard behind the scenes, doing a whole bunch of things that we had no clue about. So it just seemed like there was no movement whatsoever on the case. Well, actually, there was tons of things going on. And I think law enforcement have got a really good idea now of what's going on. Now, I'm not saying that we do just because of this this release of court documents, but I am pretty confident that this case will be solved. That's what I'm saying at this moment in time. So this is out of Cornelius in North Carolina. It's close to Charlotte. I think it's 25 miles or something like that, correct me if I'm wrong, away from Charlotte. So, newly unsealed search warrants in the case of Madalina Cojocari reveal that the missing Cornelius girl likely was spotted in surveillance photos on December 16th in Sugar Mountain. So, I don't know whether this article has got the picture. No, it hasn't. But the last known sighting of her that we knew from the public was on November 21st. This is of last year, 2022. And it was surveillance from the school bus. So it was just a little video that law enforcement released of Madalina getting off the school bus. And then she hasn't been seen since. She didn't go to school. And it was the school that instigated her being reported as missing. Like, her mother didn't bother to report it, and her stepfather didn't bother to report it. And there was this strange story that the mother told about the stepdad going to pick up some things from his home state, which, if I remember rightly, was Michigan. So he traveled like hundreds of miles north to pick up some stuff from a family home, and then he came back. So he said he had no clue what happened to Madalina, because when she lived with her biological mother and her stepfather. So the biological mother and Madalina are individuals. They're from Moldova. And they only have one relative, one biological relative in the United States. And we're going to get onto him. Someone called Octavian Serabin. I can't say that. Sebanu or Kebanu. I don't know. Octavian. So he's the only relative, biological relative of Madalina and her mother in the United States. All right, get that. So stepdad claimed that he had no knowledge that she went missing Yeah, about 100 miles from Cornelius. Yes. Yes, I did look it up earlier to see where Sugar Mountain was, and it's the same state, but it's a fair way away from Cornelius. So it's over to the west. Now, so biological mother didn't bother to report her missing. School got involved. So she ended up having to speak to the police on December 15th. Stepdad, Christopher Parmiter, who is a US citizen, said he didn't know what had happened to her because he was away picking up this stuff from his family's home when she went missing. But neither of them bothered to report her missing. So that's why they've both been jailed, because under North Carolinian law, I think it's a good law, if you don't report a child in your care missing, that's a criminal offence. So they have locked them up whilst they do this investigation. So that was the story. That was the story until the release of these court documents. So the recently uncovered surveillance photos of a child and a man were physically consistent with the missing girl and her only known blood relative, this Octavian guy, in the United States. So what we believed was that the girl, Madalina, who was 11 when she went missing, now 12, last seen in public getting off the school bus, as I said, and law enforcement released this few seconds of video to show us what Madalina looked like on November 21st. Her mother told police she last saw her 2 days later, but didn't report her missing. As I said, the school got involved and she was forced to speak to the police. So Madalina's mother, Diana, and stepfather, Christopher Parmiter, have both since been arrested and charged with failure to report the disappearance of a child. All right. So the newly unsealed records revealed that police I love it when they do things like this. I love it. I love it. The newly unsealed records reveal that police intentionally housed Madalina's stepfather with a confidential informant in jail who was able to steal his jail notebooks. He was writing books, right? Writing notes in these books, like writing all his thoughts down. So this confidential informant was able to get them out of the cell and presumably get them copied, and then they put them back, because I don't think he just kind of stole them and said, I've stolen them, you're not getting them back. He would have put them back. I love it when law enforcement do stuff like this. I really do. So I'm not sure that has really revealed that much. It's the jail calls that are really interesting. But remember that prisoners are aware that jail calls are recorded. So if a prisoner knows that they're being watched and knows that they are under surveillance constantly, they know that there's an investigation going on against them, and they want to give law enforcement the runaround, they can do very easily by saying stuff on these recorded jail calls that are completely untrue. So all I'm saying is I'm just being a little bit cautious, a little bit maybe more cautious than what some have been, because the insinuation here is that Diana, Madalina's mother, received a big wad of cash for selling her, which may well be true, but let's just be a little bit cautious that these people are in jail. They're clearly up to something. I mean, why didn't they report her missing when she supposedly just walked out of the house or someone came in and stole her? neither of which are true. So, court records show that the girl's mother discussed a big bag of money and withdrawing cash with her mother, and a theory Chris gave the girl away for money. So, what was discussed between Diana and Diana's mother, so that was Madalina's grandmother, that Chris, the stepdad, gave Madalina away. Well, didn't give her away, sold her. Sold her. Because what if Christopher had stolen Madalina, well, Diana must have known about it. If she knows where the big bag of money is, and there's a big wad of cash in the bank for her mother to withdraw, well, they're both in on it, aren't they? Both in on it. Or it could be Diana having a laugh at law enforcement's expense. And at the moment, we don't know which it is. Documents revealed a recorded phone call from Parmiter to his brother and sister-in-law, where he said, so we've got Diana saying it was Chris, and then we've got Chris Parmiter talking to his brother and his sister-in-law saying it was Diana, saying that it was her that had a lot of cash. And during this call, Chris said that financial stuff was coming up, which his brother told him not to worry about. So each one is blaming the other for having this cash. But we don't know whether there is any cash. Like, has the cash actually been found? Like, is there, if Madalina's grandma was told by Diana to withdraw cash, then, well, that's in the bank, isn't it? So this isn't all just about a big bag of cash, which is really difficult to trace. It's, you know, it feels a bit weird to me. I'm reserving judgment. But at the same time, this sighting in December in Sugar Mountain with Diana's only relative in the United States, this Octavian, if that's true, yeah, me too. Me, I wish I had a big bag of cash as well. I mean, how big's the bag? We want to know how big the bag is. You know, what currency is it? You know, if it's a big bag of pennies, then it's not worth very much, is it? But that was December 16th. Now, look, this is odd as well, because Madalina was reported missing on the 15th of December. And then mysteriously, she's on surveillance 100 miles away on the 16th. Now, is that a coincidence? Or has there been a call made? Let's just say this. Has there been a call made? So Diana rings up Octavian and says, take Madalina out to be seen in public because I've had to report her missing. You know, we could go down the rabbit hole here and think, well, these dates are a little bit coincidental. Given that she hadn't been to school, her last day at school was November 21st. So it's like over 3 weeks, nearly a month later that she was reported missing. And then mysteriously, the very day after she was reported missing, she's spotted on surveillance. But we don't know for sure that it was her. The law enforcement just think it was likely her. But why hasn't she been seen since? Sugar Mountain population less than 500. I don't know. I didn't look at the population size. Apparently there's a ski resort there. So it's the kind of place where you could very quickly get a kid away because it's a touristy area, especially at Christmas time. you know, people going to touristy areas for Christmas or to have a pre-Christmas vacation. Yeah, I don't know. Or was that not that you need to take Madalina out for her to be seen in public because I've had to report her missing? Was that you've got to get rid of her now because I've had to report her missing? So let's be on the positive and say that it was Madalina. We don't know for sure, but let's just say it was Madalina. She was at least alive 100 miles away from her home on the 16th of December. But it's now the 19th of July, so we're now another 7 months on. Where is Madalina? Because if there hasn't been any more sightings, well, that's a big issue. So, okay, additionally, a warrant suggested Diana had in fact seen Madalina after November 23rd, which is the date she reported that Madalina had gone missing. So the 21st would have been the day before Thanksgiving, I think, and then there would have been Thanksgiving and there would be no school. So it was a few days before Madalina was missed by school because of Thanksgiving. I remember us having this discussion on the last live stream I did about this case. So she said that Madalina was there for Thanksgiving, but it was the 23rd. She got up and Madalina wasn't in her bed. I think it was something like that, but still didn't bother ringing the cops and saying, my daughter's disappeared. She was in bed and no, she isn't. The warrant said in a text message on December 2nd, 2022, Madalina Cojocari indicated she was in the presence of the missing child. But that was a text message. So was she, whoever it was she was texting, was she just saying she was with Madalina to create some kind of alibi for herself? She could have been saying she was with Madalina. It's not like somebody spoke to her on the phone or even saw a photograph of her that could be actually dated. So, don't know. On December 4th, 2022, Madalina Kojikari traveled towards the North Carolina mountains claiming to be searching. Now, I do remember this coming out, that Diana had, they tracked her phone, I think, and they knew she was traveling towards the mountains. And people were speculating that she was going to hide Madalina's body, that Madalina had died in the home somehow, whether it was accidental or it was an argument that had got violent, whether it was Diana that did it, whether it was Christopher that did it. There was all this speculation, but potentially now we hear about this sighting at Sugar Mountain on December 16th. I'm guessing that cops strongly believe it's her because they had Diana traveling in that direction on December 4th. And if Madalina was with her on December 4th, and it was Diana that took her to her relative, Octavian, well, why didn't she just say to the cops that Madalina's staying with a relative? If there wasn't anything nefarious about it, surely she'd just say, well, I know where she is. She's staying with a relative. Now, I don't know what the exact relation is between Diana and this Octavian guy. I don't know whether it's her brother, cousin, uncle. I don't know who he is. Just that law enforcement know that he's a relative. So if there was nothing nefarious about Octavian spending some time with his, I don't know, niece or second cousin or something, right, surely Diana would just say, look, she's not missing. She's with my relative, Octavian. contact him. But she hasn't done that. She's sat in jail. So she's either protecting Octavian for some reason, because she's up to her neck in it. Her and Octavian are both up to their necks in it. Or, alternatively, that wasn't Madalina. It can't be innocent if she really is with Octavian and Diana took her there to spend some time with a relative. There's nothing illegal about that. She's going seeing her relative just before Christmas to get a Christmas gift from him. There's no law against that. So there must be something very nefarious if Diana and this Octavian dude are colluding. I don't know. Or it might not be Madalina. Might be somebody else who just looks like her. Despite the fact she may have seen Madalina on December 2nd, Diana was seen getting an oil change at a shop in Hickory. But the attendant serving her vehicle did not report seeing the girl. So, okay. Interesting. Warrants also stated that several electronics were seized, along with Google search histories and emails, cell phone, messaging, and financial records. The couple's vehicles were also searched. During an interview on December 16th, one day after Madalina was reported missing, a Facebook message from Parmiter so that's Christopher, that's Madalina's stepdad, to Mary Parmiter McCreary, so I don't know who that is, presumably a relative of Christopher, said, "We are in some kind of investigation. Maddie is missing and the local police have taken all our electronics. Luckily, I have an old phone. Although they did not take my personal computer prob because they overlooked it. Diana is using it now to call her parents." Okay. So presumably cops know about those old phones now of computer, and they've got them as well. Now, we don't know what the results of those was, because the court documentation is just a bunch of search warrants. And if you've been following the Idaho 4 case, you'll know the amount of search warrants that have been released to the public in that case. And it's generally just saying that a search warrant has been issued. And you only occasionally get some detail on a search warrant as to what was found. You don't get like the warrant is to go and search this thing, either go and search this website, or go and search Facebook, or go and search a house, or go and search whatever, a vehicle. You don't tend to get the results until much later. And the cops might not want to release the results of all of those things. It's been nearly 8 months since Madalina, now 12, was last seen walking off a school bus. Her mother last saw her at the Cornelius home. Yeah, well, she didn't, did she? She didn't, did she? And that's all we know. That's all we know. You don't know about Octavian, but Diana had a brother named Andre who lived in Asheville, who was in some kind of transporting business. Really? Where did you get that information from? Where's Asheville? Is that in North Carolina still? Because apparently, according to this report, and like a bunch of other media have reported the same thing, I'm just using this as an example. Like there's a bunch of UK press reporting on it today as well. But it does say that this Octavian guy is the only relative in the United States. So if she has another relative in the United States, maybe he's not a blood relative, because it says the recently uncovered surveillance photos of a child and a man were physically consistent with the missing girl and her only known blood relative, Octavian, in the United States. So I guess it could be a stepbrother, technically not a blood relative. But yeah, transporting business is interesting, isn't it? Where did you get that from? Yeah, I wonder why he was never mentioned. Yes, Asheville, where the Biltmore Castle is located on the Tennessee border. Huh. Interesting. Don't know the name of this business, do you? His last name is Cojocari, and I found him when I was researching her because she lived with him in Asheville. Really? Definitely a brother. Is it not? Could it not be? Well, I don't know. Could be somebody. It could be a stepbrother. Could be a previous partner. Like Kojikari might be a family name of his. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Let's look him up. What's his name? Andre Kojikari. I am mindful of the time. We are going to switch over to Carlee shortly. Those of you who are here in the stream waiting for Carlee. Kojikari, North Carolina. Huh. This dude, Andre Kojikari, works as a truck driver. Lives in Asheville, North Carolina, from Moldova. All right. So, yeah, it could be a relative, couldn't it? Unless there's a lot of Kojikaris. There might be a lot of Kojikaris in Moldova. Might be a common surname, like Smith. You know, you could feasibly be living with someone called Smith as your roommate and you not be a relative. Smith, Jones, Patel is a very common surname here in Britain. Well, this is all an open profile. I'm not a friend with him. I'm not giving away all these people. This is open profile. Is Diana on here? No. Interesting. Works here. Truck and driver. 100% for drivers and 100% focused on their needs and interest. That's a UK company. .co.uk. What on earth? So where's this thing based? It's very odd. About us. Oh, it's a magazine. From gutsy news stories to campaign for better pay and conditions, the UK's best-selling truck magazine. So he's a journalist or something. So he's not a trucker. He's working for this magazine. Drivers appreciate the no-nonsense truckers tests, unbiased product reviews, in-depth working features and long-distance diaries. While the global and classic truck features appeal to the enthusiast too, Truck and Driver presents the professional face of truck driving for readers who want to feel good about the vital jobs they do. So it's a magazine. I thought that was really weird that he was in North Carolina working for a UK trucking company. So, well, how does that work? But no, it's a magazine. Interesting. Latest issues. July issue. Truck and drive. Steal the deal. Feisty FH 540. Dual clutch. V5 upgrade. Raises the bar. There we go. So, whoever this guy is, he's not a trucker. He's... I don't know what he does for them, but he's not a trucker. It's a magazine. Yeah, she was. Madalina's mother was found with drugs. Yes, she was. It is a good idea, Sparks. Yeah. I think it should be illegal if you fail to report a child that's in your care missing. It is, Trina. It's a long commute. All right, so that's very intriguing. Let's move over now, though, to talk about Carlee. I'll put the links for... I'll put that news article that I read in the description box after. Let me change my banner. I'm going to actually change that to Carlee Russell press conference. Conference, 2:30 p.m. CST. Okay. All right, so people will know that that's coming up. All right, let's have a little bit of a chat about this case. Like I said at the beginning of this stream, I do not know what to make about this one. It's a very strange one. It's the strangest case I think I've covered this year. I mean, you know, there's a whole bunch of really strange cases out there, but this one is, it's confusing. It could have a really, really, really simple explanation. Very simple. That Carlee met up this child, because the cops have said that they've no evidence that a child was missing. Nobody's reported a child missing. No one else saw the child. And it was a really, really busy interstate. Even though it was like 9:30 at night, it was still busy. So if you haven't seen the footage, let's just play you a little bit of it. Hold on a minute. Did I put it on this channel or the other channel? Yeah, that one. Yeah, I'll just play this because, hold on, I need to share my screen. That would help. This is from my video, because I think I see two people, but if my brain is seeing two people, then that's just me, but I'm sure I can see two people. But like I said, the only thing we do know is that I've lost my train of thought completely. I have completely and totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, oh yeah. The only thing we do know is this is Carlee pulling up here. This is Carlee. She made a 911 call. So this is out of Hoover, Alabama. She's about 10 minutes away from home. She got off work about 8:30. She went to Target to get some snacks, which weren't found in her car. So she either ate those snacks very quickly on her route home and, I don't know, threw the wrappers out the window, or she took them with her. She took them with her. So that's the person getting out and going around the side of the car. Right. Now, she also called a restaurant to pick up some food Like she rang before she left work, she rang an order through and she picked it up. So she had a food order from a restaurant and some snacks. Now, I don't know whether the food order, this restaurant food, well, I don't know what food it was, whether that was gone as well, I've no idea. But the police have definitely said the snacks were not in the vehicle. Her wig, because she wears a wig, like to have a nice flowing locks, and she changes the colour because she has different wigs. Her phone were on the floor, on the ground, on the grass verge. Her purse was in her vehicle with AirPods and her Apple Watch. Right. Who wears an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or something, a smartwatch, any kind of smart device on their wrist, and keeps it in their purse? Who does that? Who does that? Because I used to have an Apple Watch. I say I used to. I still have an Apple Watch. It's just lost. It's just completely lost. But when I had an Apple Watch, I didn't keep it in a bag. I kept it on my wrist. What point is an Apple Watch in a bag? I mean, I guess maybe it was out of charge. And she thought, oh, well, I might as well take this off. It's out of charge, I guess. But this toddler who was male, wearing a white t-shirt and a diaper, running along the side of the highway. So that's the only other thing we know. So she sees this. So we'll rewind this back to the beginning. I know this isn't the complete one because I'm just clipping it, but that's how dark it was. Because that's not that's what was released. I know there's some versions out there that have been lightened and played with, and that's great. But I put the original. That's the original as it was released. Right. So how could she tell this toddler running along the side of this interstate is a male? When you're driving down the interstate, how can you, like, do you have like supersonic vision or something? And that's the reason why she saw the child. Or does she drive unusually slowly? Is she a really, really careful driver? So she's not actually driving as fast as everyone else. If she is a really careful driver, she's probably a really annoying driver. She's the type of driver that everybody has to overtake because she's just annoying. It's like my mother. My mother drives really slowly. It's dangerous driving really slowly. You're going to cause accidents. But I don't get it. Well, there's variations on how. I know I'm pointing out the obvious, Joan. I know I am, but these things are just really strange. We don't exactly know what age she said this kid was. Like some people have said that she said it was a child age 4 to 5, and why would that child be wearing a nappy, a diaper? And then others have said that she said it was a toddler. So a toddler, yeah, probably would be. And where did the kid go? Now, I was very open at the beginning of this case. I was very open to the possibility that some absolute nutcase was using their kid or a kid from their family to lure a woman. Let's think a woman's more likely to stop than a man, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's what would be in a potential kidnapper's head. But really? Would you use your kid? Like, what? How did they keep the kid, like, walking? Like, how did they keep the kid amused while they were, like like a kid, a dark on a busy highway like that, a kid would be happy just running up and down on the side of the road? Or would they be scared? I don't get it. Now, there have been cases. There have been cases where people have been lured by the use of children. That's one example. Now, something that we, like the police in my area, and I'm going back quite a few years now, but we had a lot of problems like this happened numerous times. A woman was sexually assaulted in a car park of a hospital. Now, this was in the middle of the day, and this man had pretended to faint, like must have seen her coming, pretended to faint. She went over to help him, and he just jumped up, grabbed her, and dragged her into his car. And there was a number of similar type assaults, either to try to sexually assault or to rob them, to like pretend to be like I don't know, collapsed, and somebody driving along stops. There was a carjacking where somebody stopped being the Good Samaritan and got out, and this guy just jumped up and got in his car and drove away. So I could easily believe it. I really could easily believe that someone would be sad enough and desperate enough. We're going to use WFLA shortly, so we'll just get it on there so that we know it's up. So I'll be streaming from the excellent WFLA. I really like WFLA. I watch so much of their content. So that's who I'll be streaming it from. I'll put a link to this in the description box. I won't put there's Hey JB. He's a little bit of a hero of mine. If he ever copyright strikes me, I'll be proper upset. I'll be proper upset. But I'm giving him, you know, fair use and all stuff here. This is fair use. This is the link. This is the press conference. We're waiting for it now, John. Oh, Michelle will link the conference. Yes, the conference is here, right here, coming up soon. Soon as they come to the podium, I will put the audio up. Let's just do a little bit of a sound check beforehand. I'm going to release the audio. Can you hear this okay?
This is a hoax, whether it was some sort of mental crisis or whether indeed there is somebody out there that abducted her, and
does that sound
going
okay?
to put the community on notice that, listen, there's somebody out there and we need your help.
Yeah,
and be safe.
Is there any?
When are those going to happen?
Good. So JB is currently talking to ex-FBI agent Jennifer Coffendaffer there. Good. You all hear it. So as soon as they come to the podium, I will mute out and we can watch the press conference together, and then we can have a chat about what they say. The other thing, Jennifer, I think, was just talking about it there, that this was a mental health crisis. I don't think so. I don't think so, honestly, because if you were in some kind of psychotic break, you wouldn't just disappear, would you? Like, they'd find you wandering aimlessly, even if you were trying to hide, you know, because you were scared of the lights and stuff. You're not going to be able to hide that well when there's a bunch of drone operators, a helicopter, dogs all over the area. How far can you get in 5 minutes? On foot, if you're having a mental health crisis. I don't really understand how that could have been a thing. So I think if this wasn't a kidnapping, if this was, she made it up, then I think it's a very simple explanation that she wanted to go and party. And she has pretty strict parents, very religious parents. She wanted to go and party with somebody who wasn't her boyfriend. And she made up this ridiculous, really ridiculous scenario. And she came back either when the party was over or she realized that this was getting too big. And, you know, she was worrying her entire family. It could be as simple as that. You know, I've heard people say, well, she went for an abortion because they have, you know, very, very religious family. And of course, abortion's illegal in Alabama. So she went out of state to a state where it is legal to get an abortion and then came back. I mean, I don't want to put that on her. As I said in my video a couple of days ago, that's a very personal thing. I don't want to talk about that. I guess it's possible, but I'm not going to put that on her. That's a very personal and very upsetting, tragic circumstance. But I don't know. I don't know. So I do hope that we get some answers in this press conference, which is going to be happening in 3 minutes' time. You had a local 20-year-old who faked a kidnapping. I mean, the only one I've ever heard of is Sherry Papini, who did it. I mean, she went to ridiculous lengths that, you know, branded herself or got someone to brand her. She didn't eat, so she lost a ton of weight. She got someone to punch her, so it looked like she'd been beaten up. I mean, who would go to those kind of lengths just to get away for a bit? Local 20-year-old who staged a kidnapping. It was back in the 90s, so we didn't have internet, so it didn't get the hype it does now. She did it for attention. You see, Carlee, I mean, none of us know Carlee, do we? But she doesn't seem, you know, she's very industrious. She's a hard worker, apparently. And her parents, at least in public, they've come out and done an interview in public, and they say that they believe she was abducted. And her boyfriend has come out and said that he thinks she was kidnapped and she was fighting for her life for 48 hours. What did she do for a living? She worked at a beauty spa. She was a nursing student, but she was working at a beauty spa, and she'd been to work until 8:30 that night. So she was on her way home. Self-abduction. But as I said, regardless of how this went down, she had to have help to get out of that area. She had to have help. Because if she was walking, like she left her car there and she was walking, how far could she get in 5 minutes? Law enforcement were there within 5 minutes. Like, the search parties were out very quickly. I don't know about a rape kit. I don't know about that. We know that she was took to hospital. They said that she was unresponsive but alive when EMTs were called, but she only spent about a day in hospital. So presumably they would have done forensic testing. Presumably. No, she had 2 kids, married with 2 kids. Half a mile, 5 minutes. Well, you'd have to walk quickly, and you'd have to make sure that you weren't seen, because you'd either have to walk along the interstate, in which case you're going to be seen, or you're going to have to walk through that really nice neighborhood. Otherwise, which I bet everybody's got a Ring doorbell in that neighborhood, I bet they do. So you've got loads of chances to be seen on surveillance. Now, we don't know how much surveillance cops have got. They may have a lot of surveillance. They might know exactly what her movements were. Right, we're going.
Mic check, 1, 2.
Oh, mic check.
Mic check. Everybody give me a thumbs up. I just want to make sure we're good. Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2.
All good. Give her a
In the
thumbs
city
up.
of
We're
Hoover,
all good
Alabama,
here.
1, 2, 3.
All right.
Right at 2:30 now.
Always appreciate a good
Central
mic check.
Daylight Time. Everybody good? Everybody good?
We're all good.
Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check. We're getting very close. Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check. You're good, Mike? Mic check.
You
You're
see
good?
her saying
You
that we're
good?
getting close. There's
Everybody's
a
good?
lot of
You're good, sir?
anticipation.
Right, okay. She's doing a mic check. Who said she was unresponsive? It was over the dispatch. So people who were listening to the police scanner heard it. I haven't put it on my channel, but I have heard it. Them saying that she was not responsive. Right, here we go. Hold on.
2 minutes. So that's the official 2-minute warning from Hoover.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay. Yeah, that's it. It's just odd. And right. So when EMTs got there, right, when it was reported in, it was that she was unresponsive. But on surveillance, she was seen in her neighborhood, like minutes before she got home, walking along a path, perfectly fine. Then when EMTs get there, she's fine. She's communicating. I don't know if she's fine, but she's communicating. So which is it? You're either at death's door and you turn up at your house and you just basically faint at your parents' feet, or you're not. What is it? Which is it? I don't understand all of this. Strange. It's just really strange. I could easily have believed her being kidnapped using a child to lure her away if the circumstances were different. But none of this adds up. And the more I've heard, the more holes there is in this story. Which is why I absolutely hope that they give us some answers. At least a direction in which the investigation is going in. Right, here we go. Muting out.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Frank and Pam Bearfield Training Center. I'm Captain Keith Sescaleba, that's spelled Keithsescaleba, with the Hoover Police Department. Joining me at the podium today will be Hoover Mayor Frank Brocato, spelled Brocato, and Hoover Police Chief Nick Derzis, spelled Derzis. You may also hear from Lieutenant Daniel Lowe, spelled Lowe, of the Hoover Police Investigations Division. Mayor Brocato will make a brief opening statement, and then Chief Derzis will read a prepared statement. After Chief's statement is complete, there will be an opportunity to ask a few questions regarding this investigation. Keep in mind that this is still an ongoing investigation, so there may be some questions that we cannot answer. With that, I will turn it over to Mayor Brocato.
Thank you and good afternoon for you all coming today. You know, 6 days ago, our community learned about the disappearance of Carlee Russell, and it sent fear and pandemonium not just through our city, but the entire state and the nation as well. The media quickly joined us to get the word out about Carlee. Our community sprung into action, and they organized search parties, arranged prayer vigils, and they took other steps that I'm not even aware of to help in this situation. The Hoover Police Department quickly rallied multiple partner agencies, stopping at nothing to find Carlee. I'd like to take this time to say thank you first to the Hoover Police Department, our partner agencies, our wonderful community, and to all those that aided in some way in connection with this situation. As the days have gone on and more information has been shared, we know everyone has questions. The Hoover Police Department is known for being very methodical and thorough with their investigations. For that reason, we did not feel comfortable speaking in detail publicly until now. It is important that we share this information now so that our community can be put at ease. So at this time, I'll turn the microphone over to Hoover Police Chief Nick Durses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank everyone for being here today. Besides me stands the team who played a significant role in this investigation. I want to thank our department, members of surrounding local law enforcement agencies, the FBI, Secret Service, United States Marshals, and ALEA for their assistance in this case. We said from the evening of July 13th, our focus would be the safe return of Carlee Russell. That occurred on Saturday, July 15th, approximately 49 hours after she called 911 and disappeared. From that point, our focus has been to determine Carlee's whereabouts during that time and what exactly took place. Let me say up front, this investigation is not over. We're still working this case, and we'll work in this case until we uncover every piece of evidence that helps us account for the 49 hours that Carlee Russell was missing. However, through the public interest, and in some cases, public fear that this story has generated, we owe it to our citizens to tell them the facts that we have uncovered. So I will give you the facts that we know today. On July 13th, at approximately 8:20 p.m., Carlee left work from a business at the Summit. Surveillance video from her place of employment shows Carlee concealed a dark-colored bathrobe, a roll of toilet paper, and other items belonging to the business prior to her departure. She ordered food from Tzatziki's at the Colonnade and traveled there. She then traveled to Target on 280, where she purchased some granola bars and Cheez-Its. From there, she remained in the parking lot at that shopping center until 9:21 p.m. when she drove to I-459. Carlee communicated on her cell phone with individuals known to her while on her path of travel up to the point of calling 911 at 9:34 p.m. And at this time, we will play the 911 call in its entirety.
Interstate 459, and there's just a kid just walking by themselves. Hold on. Where on 49 are you? I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Silver Med, like to get off by the Silver Med. Okay, so you're before that exit? Yes. Okay, and were you headed southbound or northbound? Like towards Tuscaloosa or towards 280? Towards Tuscaloosa. Okay. And was the child on the left or right side? On the right side. Were they walking northbound or southbound? They're walking towards Tuscaloosa. Walking southbound? Or how old do they look? Like a toddler, like maybe like 3 or 4. Did you pull over with them or are you still with them? Yes. Okay, are you with the child right now? No, I'm not. I didn't get out of the car. I can see them though. Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them until we get there? Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, what kind of car are you in? I'm in a red Mercedes-Benz. Is that a sedan or SUV? SUV. I mean, it's a sedan, sorry. Can you put your hazards on for me? Yeah, they're on. Okay, did you talk to the child at all, or did you say anything to them? No. Okay. No. Do they look like they're injured? No, they don't. Are they white, black, Hispanic, or Asian? They're white. Okay. Is it male or female? I think it's a boy, a little boy. White male? Okay, so is he wearing clothes? Yes. Okay. What is he wearing? It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper. And you don't see any cars anywhere? No, no cars anywhere. Okay. All right. What's your name? My name is Carlee Russell. And you don't see any injuries on the child from where you're at, correct? No, but I can't really see them that good. Okay, try to keep an eye on them for the best that you can, because I don't want you to lose track of them. Okay. All right, and do they have shoes on? No. Shoes? Not that I can see. I can't really see that one. Okay. All right, I've got them on the way, okay? Just try to keep an eye on them, but officers are on the way, okay? Okay, thanks. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Carlee called a relative after speaking with the 911 operator. She went missing during that conversation sometime after 9:36 p.m. Traffic camera footage was obtained which depicted this portion of the incident, and that footage was analyzed as part of the investigation in conjunction with the 911 call and cell phone data to accurately determine the time frame. Carlee's 911 call remains the only report of a child on the interstate, despite numerous vehicles passing through the area at that time. No one has called to report that a child is missing, and the Hoover Police Department did not locate any evidence of a small child walking down the interstate. Data from Carlee's phone, including her Life 360 app, shows that she traveled approximately 600 yards in her vehicle while she was on the phone with 911, stating that she was following a child. 600 yards. That is 6 football fields straight, 600 yards. The Hoover 911 Center received a second call from Carlee's mother stating that a relative was on the phone with her when they heard Carlee scream, and then they had an open phone line. Hoover police officers arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of being dispatched, and several other officers arrived shortly. They located Carlee's wig and cell phone in the grass near the vehicle. Her purse was located in the front seat of her vehicle with her Apple Watch in the purse. The food she ordered for Tzatziki's was also in the car. The items she purchased from Target, as well as the items taken from her place of employment, were not in the vehicle, nor were they located anywhere around the scene. Hoover police deployed all available assets from the point in the search for Carlee. Additional resources were called in to include our own drone unit, crime scene investigators. Numerous detectives responded to the scene. Throughout the day Friday, officers from surrounding local and federal agencies assisted Hoover police in the search for Carlee Russell. Officers returned to the scene on 459 to conduct a thorough line search for evidence. K-9 teams from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department responded to check for any sign of Carlee, the child that she claimed to see, and anything else that could be considered evidence in this case. Those searches all turned up empty. Private citizens, including search parties organized by her family, friends, began looking everywhere that they could to find any trace. These searches took place throughout the day Friday and again on Saturday, yielding nothing. At 10:44 p.m. on July 15th, the Hoover 911 Center receives a call from Carlee's residence stating that she returned home on foot. In subsequent investigations, detectives obtained surveillance footage of Carlee walking down the sidewalk alone prior to her arrival at her residence. She was conscious and speaking with paramedics when she was transported to UAB. Detectives were able to obtain a brief statement from her prior to being treated and released. During the statement, she told detectives that while traveling down the interstate, she saw a baby walking down the side of the road and called 911. She stated when she got out of her vehicle to check on the child, a man came out of the trees and mumbled that he was checking on the baby. She claimed that the man then picked her up and she screamed. She stated he then made her go over a fence. She claims he then forced her into a car, and the next thing she remembers is being in the trailer of an 18-wheeler. She stated that the male was with a female. However, she never saw the female, only hearing her voice. She also told detectives she could hear a baby crying. She told detectives the male had orange hair with a big bald spot on the back. She said she was able to escape the 18-wheeler and fled on foot, only to be captured again and then was put in a car. She claimed she was then blindfolded, but was not tied up because the captor said they did not want to leave impressions on her wrists. She said that they took her into a house and made her get undressed. She believes they took pictures of her, but she does not remember them having any physical or sexual contact. She stated the next day she woke up and was fed cheese crackers by the female. She said the woman also played with her hair, but could not remember anything else. At some point, she was put back in a vehicle she claims was able to escape while it was in the West Hoover area. She told detectives she ran through lots of woods until she came out near her residence. During this interview, detectives noted that Carlee had a small injury to her lip, and she claimed that her head was hurting. She also had a tear in her shirt. Detectives also noted that she had $107 cash in her right sock. Out of respect for Carlee and her family, detectives did not press for additional information in this interview and made plans to speak with her in detail after giving her time to rest. Detectives continue analyzing data from Carlee's cell phone that was left behind at the scene. We enlisted the help of the United States Secret Service in conducting this analysis. Part of what data includes several internet searches in the days leading up to her disappearance that I think are very relevant to this case. On July 11th at 7:30 a.m., the term, "Do you have to pay for an Amber Alert?" was searched. On July 13th at 1:03 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term, "How to take money from a register without being caught," was searched. On July 13th at 2:13 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term Birmingham bus station was searched. On July 13th, 2:35 a.m., a search for a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville was conducted with a departure date of July 13th. On July 13th at 12:10 p.m., a search for the movie Taken, a film about abduction, was conducted. There were 2 searches related to Amber Alerts on a computer at Carlee's place of employment, including one regarding the maximum age of an Amber Alert. There were other searches on Carlee's phone that appeared to shed some light on her mindset, but out of respect for her privacy, we will not be releasing the content of those searches at this time. We've asked to interview Carlee a second time, but have not been granted that request. As you can see, there are many questions left to be answered, but only Carlee can provide those answers. What we can say is that we've been unable to verify most of Carlee's initial statement made to investigators, and we have no reason to believe that there is a threat to the public safety related to this particular case. Thank you very much.
With that, we'll open the floor to some questions. Please raise your hand and I will call on you. Carol.
Chief, do you expect any charges against Carlee Russell in connection with the disappearance and in connection with what was taken from the Woodhouse spa?
Right now, our focus is to determine those 49 hours, so the investigation continues. So to be perfectly honest with you, that hasn't even entered our mind or been discussed.
One more question. Is it surprising to you that the family has not been cooperative in returning to be questioned?
Well, I think the family has stated to us that they didn't think that in her mental state right now, because of trauma of the incident, that she's not ready to talk, is what we've been told.
Go ahead, sir. Yeah, question for Chief. You stated that the abductor had orange hair. Was this abductor black male? Was it female? Black female? White female?
I believe it's a white male. Am I correct by saying that? Was it ever? Yeah, white male.
Is this alleged abductor yet on loose in the Hoover area?
Don't believe so.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief Bernadine, WBRC, has a toxicology report been done, and were any drugs or illegal substances found in her system?
We have no report of that.
Is any indication of mental illness in this case?
Not that I'm aware of.
There's been a concern in the community that if this turned out not to be a true story, that the next time a young woman of color was missing, that it might not be taken seriously. How would you respond to that?
I'd respond to say that we investigate every crime to the fullest, just like we have this one.
Was she traveling with anyone? Excuse me. Was she traveling with anyone since the time she disappeared, to your knowledge?
And not to my knowledge.
Chief, I know you said you weren't able to verify a lot of aspects of the story. Where do you think she went? How would you characterize what happened to her?
You know, that's the $100 question. You know, we pretty much know exactly what took place from the time she left work until she got on the 911 call, and we can see getting out of the car on the interstate from that footage. And after that, I think she only knows. We don't know.
Well, one quick follow-up. Her parents. Did you speak with Carlee's parents? And why do you think it is they were so adamant that there was an abductor?
Yeah, I think parents are believing what their daughter's saying, and we've had a very good rapport with the parents, met with them on several occasions. I've talked to them today a few times, and to make them understand that we're under pressure from our community, not only in our community of the state, but nationally when the story hit. And I just wanted them to understand that today we were going to have a press conference, and what we were going to detail today are facts. And everything that I've told you today is actual facts. It's not innuendos. It's not what I think. It's not what these detectives think. It is the factual information that we have. Well, I think our detectives have talked to the parents, and we're ready. We're ready to talk as soon as she's ready. So, you know, she called right now. We're ready. Ooh, how about unknown? You know, we know the facts that we have. Everything else is unknown at this time.
What have the past few days been like for you, your department? This has been a stressful search.
Well, absolutely. And again, the focus of the investigation that Thursday when she went missing, of course, the focus was to get Carlee home. That's what we want all. We wanted her safe and sound. And that's all happened. And then, of course, this has gotten to be not only a local state story, but a national story. So, you know, it is. It's a lot of stress on everyone in the Hoover Police Department, and the mayor, to every citizen here. We want to know the truth.
As you stand here, are you frustrated?
I wouldn't say I'm frustrated. I mean, I'm very happy that Carlee's home. That was the main ingredient here, and then we'll figure it out. I promise you that we'll end up figuring it out.
Any idea about the number of manpower hours or the expense of the drones and all the rest of the search that might cost the city and the state and the federal government?
Yeah, we haven't had time to consider that, but it's you know, again, these detectives that are here, this is just a small group of people that have been associated with this case. We have put every available resource that we have on this case because we wanted to make sure that we found out everything. We wanted to get her home, and we have.
Chief, is there any prior indication of mental health problems?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can you just expand on the people from the state, federal resources brought in? What were they doing exactly as you all were searching for? Can you just expand on that?
Sure. A lot of the from the FBI side, several agents helping us interview. I mean, as you well know, in a case like this, especially when it goes national, we got hundreds and hundreds of calls. And when you get those calls, some of them may just be outlandish, but you've got to follow up on them because you never know that you may get that one tidbit. And I'd also say too that we had a great cooperation with the family. The family received hundreds and hundreds of tips, and every time they got a tip, they sent it to us.
Would you say a crime has been committed?
No, we have not determined that. No.
Keith Mims, WAGG 610 Summit Media. Question for Chief. With all of the searches that you mentioned, Chief, that were on Carlee's phone, does that kind of give you an indication of her mind state during this ordeal, 48 hours?
Yeah.
That she went missing?
Well, you know, again, we want to talk in facts, and I do think it's highly unusual to the day that someone gets kidnapped, that 7 hours, 8 hours before that they're searching the internet, Googling the movie Taken about an abduction. I find that very, very strange. Yes.
Do you feel confident, your investigators feel confident that you know why Carlee Russell made her death?
No, we do not know. Absolutely not.
Chief, can you explain for us, you mentioned that while at Ruby said Carlee was on the front line of one, she was traveling 6 football fields, which tells you what?
Which tells me that I've had kids, and I'm sure a lot of people here have, and it's very, very, again, she said it, and I'm not saying it couldn't happen because I've always been one of these guys, never say never, but 6 football fields. I mean, I like athletics, I like football. 6 football fields. To think that a toddler, barefoot, that could be 3 or 4 years old, is going to travel 6 football fields without getting in the roadway, without crying, without any just moving down. It's just very hard for me to understand.
Chief, have you used any technology to enhance that video from 459? And did you see a man grab her?
We did not see, from what we can tell, we don't see anybody on the interstate other than her car and then someone getting out of her driver's side. We have sent that off to the FBI for enhancement. It has not been returned.
Do you think in this case that charges will be forthcoming towards Carlee Russell? And how serious
not only fabricated 911 call, but to lie to law enforcement during investigation?
Well, again, that's not something that we've been discussed since we're going through the still investigation. But people have to understand that when someone says something like this, we put every available resource. Everybody comes together from, like I say, state, local, federal. It's just a lot of work, and gentleman early said frustrated. I mean, it is a little frustrating to think that all this has been done and we can't find anything out.
Did anyone see her calling in from the side of the road when she made that 911 call?
No, not to my knowledge.
All right, last question here. Is this investigation held up until you can speak once again, Carlee Russell?
Well, there's a few things that we're still doing, but obviously we want to talk to Carlee as soon as we can and do an in-depth interview. And at that time, I think we'll have these investigators doing some other things. So
that's all the questions we're going to answer today. We appreciate you guys coming, and we'll be following up with y'all later. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, Chief.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JV.
Well, well, well. What a little liar. What a little liar. I'm confident enough to say that now. I think the police have played this really well up to now. I really do. I think what they're doing is they're giving her time. They're getting their ducks in a row. They're making sure that they have all of their I's dotted, T's crossed, and then they're going to arrest her. Now, I don't know what the laws are like in Alabama, but faking a kidnap, lying to police, it's a crime in the UK. I don't know what it's like in Alabama, though. It's very clear that police chief, bold choice of suit there, kind of liked it, matched the background. So obviously he's a straight talking guy. And they don't believe her. It's clear they don't believe her. Look, they had the Secret Service. Look, how much has this investigation cost? Right? If they're simply going to let this lie and just going to let her just go back to her normal life, they've spent a lot of money letting her go back to her normal life. Now, they responded very, very quickly. They did all the right things. The local community was fantastic. Her family were great. Like the reason why this got so far so fast was because so many people were sharing it. Because her family were really on it. They were saying, we want this to go viral. Everybody got on it. Like JB from WFLA streamed it. Did a very long stream the other day saying, look, we're close to 48 hours. We're close to this now. And we've got to, we've really got to share. And it just makes you feel a little bit sick that somebody would have us all on like that. Now, look, guys, while it was going on, I looked up Birmingham, Alabama to Nashville, because she looked up bus tickets from Birmingham, Alabama, all the way up here to Nashville. It's a straight run. So 3 hours via Interstate 65S. Well, that's Nashville to Birmingham. So obviously she's going north. So 3 hours. So if she's going for an abortion, I don't think so, because abortion is also illegal in Tennessee, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, they did say that there were some Google searches that they weren't going to release for her, I don't know, privacy and whatever. That's fine. But the Google searches that she'd done on the day she disappeared, looking up bus tickets from Birmingham, which is only, 5 miles away, less than 5 miles away from where she was. Like, she'd come from Birmingham. So she was working in Birmingham from 8:30. She sat in the car park at Birmingham till 9:20. And then she decided to drive down the interstate and on her way home and saw this small child. And then followed this small child along the interstate for 600 yards, I think he said. 6 football fields. So how fast was a 3 to 4-year-old child running if she was following him? Let's just look again at the camera footage here. Now, admittedly, it's dark. You might not be able to see. Let's just get this up again. Hold on a minute. I'm going to get the full one. Okay, so I only clipped out. So this is Carlee. This is Carlee traveling along, supposedly following this small child. So the child is running. I mean, I can't say how fast she's going. It's impossible to say how fast she's going. So she's alleging that she traveled, well, they said, based on her live 360, she traveled 600 yards. Telling the cops, telling 911 that she was following this child. So let's just replay that. So here she comes. So you can see there the grass lighting up. Can you see a child? Can you see a child there? I can't see a child there. I mean, unless he's running right up to the tree line. And if so, how is she seeing him? I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I always say this, kids do the darndest things. But what I don't believe is that a 3 to 4-year-old child on his own on the interstate would be running hell for leather while there's a car close behind him. There's no child. There's no child. There's no child. And the cops clearly do not believe there was a child. Look, if they had the slightest inkling that there was a genuine threat to the public, they would not have come and done that press conference tonight. They'd have put something out like, please continue to be vigilant. You know, we're still investigating Carlee Russell's potential kidnap. We'd just like to assure the public that we're fully working on it, but please be vigilant. If you're driving alone, do not stop. Even if you see a child, please do not stop. Call 911. Do not get out of your vehicle. They'd be putting public safety announcements out. They wouldn't be doing a press conference telling us about Carlee Russell's Google searches and what she stole from her work. They also wouldn't be telling us what she stole from her work. Would they? Would they? They wouldn't be telling us that. They wouldn't be telling us that she had $107 stuffed into a sock. Now, supposedly these kidnappers stripped her naked. Well, did they let her leave her socks on? Because, I'm sorry, look, if I'd prepared to break the law, so much to kidnap somebody for 49 hours just to take some photos, right? Okay. So no physical assault, no sexual assault, no robbery. Now, if I was going to kidnap somebody, maybe I wouldn't take the phone because it's going to, you know, tracking and all that. Maybe I wouldn't take the car, tracking and all that. I'd take the money though. I'd take the $107 because you can't trace that. Why was it in her sock? Why was it in her sock? She stole a bathrobe and some toilet paper. So what was that for? Was she going to travel overnight and stop off somewhere? Was she, you know, maybe she had some clothes in her car and she just thought, oh, I need some loo roll and I forgot my bathrobe, or I'm going to just take this nice bathrobe. And we don't know how much she stole because she might have had a whole lot more. That $107 might be just what was left over from her night away. So what was going on in Nashville that was so interesting? Because it's a 3-hour journey. Now, if she was going for an abortion, Tennessee has the same laws as Alabama. So was she traveling on to, I don't know where else she might travel to from Nashville? Why would she use a bus? I don't know. I think most of these southern states, abortion's illegal now, isn't it? I'm not sure. I don't think she went for an abortion, just to be clear. I'm just saying that that's one of the theories that was out there. I honestly think that she's gone to meet someone. Beyonce was in concert, really? What, on the Friday? So if she travelled, she got a late bus, travelled to Nashville, and had a couple of days in Nashville. And she got a one-way because she knew she was going to get a lift back. And somebody dropped. She had to have help. Somebody had to pick her up, as I was saying. Somebody had to pick her up. Because, look, if she walked back to Birmingham from Hoover. All right. Take Nashville out of the equation. All right. So 10 miles. 10 miles. Now, she was on Interstate 459, I think she was at. So wherever that was. Where's Interstate 459? Down here. 459. So she's down here. She's down here somewhere. She's about here. I think she was about here. She was next to this neighborhood here. So from there, let's just put it about, I don't know exactly where she was. Mile marker 10 or 11. So we'll do it again. We'll take that away. We'll take that away. And we'll just do it from there, just roughly. And then we're going to do directions from there. All right. Will it let me do it from there? All right. No, I want the interstate. I don't want you to do it from... All right, we'll do it from there. We'll do it from there. All right, so Birmingham bus station. Birmingham bus station. Alabama. There's a Birmingham in Britain. Greyhound bus station. 14 miles. So if you're going to walk it, it's going to take you 4 hours. It's going to take you 4 hours to walk it. From where she left her car to the Greyhound bus station in Birmingham. So I don't think she's walked it, has she? So she's been picked up. I think she stopped near that sign, and I said this in my video the other day. I think if she faked this, she stopped at that sign because it's a marker, right? That's why she cruised along really slow to find that marker. And I think someone was waiting for her, maybe just off in this neighborhood. So she went down the hill. So let's get back down here. So she went down this hill. It's only a little hill, little tree line. All right. People are saying that this is massive woods. No, it isn't. That's wooded. This isn't. This area isn't at all. It's only a few rows of trees. And in the woods I go in, the secret woods is big, way bigger than that. That's a few yards down a little hill. That's all. So come out these backyards. There's probably a place where you can. I think she's met someone. She's walked back through the woods, and then they've left a car somewhere around here, maybe, or even right the way down here. It's a bit of a walk, though. I think there should have been seen. I don't think she's walked this far. I think they've parked a car in this neighborhood somewhere, and they've gone to the bus station. Or let's consider the possibility that she got, well, mind you, she got an Uber. That would be on her phone, wouldn't it? I was going to say she could have just called an Uber, but no. Somebody's picked her up. Somebody had to pick her up to get her out of that area without being seen. And I think any suggestion that she was delusional or she was in a psychotic break, no. Have you ever seen anyone in a psychosis? Have you? Be frank and honest. Have you ever seen anyone in a psychosis? I have. And there is no way in the world that they would have been able to organize this in a way that she got out of that area within 5 minutes. Yeah, she's 25. No way. Because when you're in a psychosis, even if you're planning to do something, even if you've got this, real flight of fancy, you're in a complete mania, your thoughts are not organized. They're not organized. Like the fact that she left her wig, her phone, her Apple Watch in her bag or purse. If you're psychotic, you'll just take anything, like whatever you've got on your person, it's going to go with you. And yeah, you might drop your phone. I think she dropped her wig and her phone at the side of the road to make it look like there was a scuffle. She's probably heard of the Sherry Papini case, because what did Sherry Papini do? She left her phone and her headphones with hair, as if the headphones had been dragged off her. Like she'd even pulled like some of her hair out and put like... She didn't want to be tracked. Thank you, Jean. She didn't. Exactly, Pat. She didn't anticipate it blowing up like it did. And the reason why she's now having to maintain this kidnap story and say that she's not in a mental state fit enough to speak to the cops is because she knows they don't believe her. She might be able to spin it to her parents, but the police don't believe her. The next time she speaks to those police, they'll have all their ducks in a row. They don't care. They don't care that she doesn't want to speak to them right now. They don't care. Because the more time they have, the better case they're going to pull together. The fact that they got the Secret Service in, the Secret Service have been involved. There is no way in the world that if charges can be brought, they won't be brought. I think charges are coming. What did Sherry Papini get? Does anybody remember? Let's look it up. I did a video about Sherry Papini when she was charged. Sherry Papini. Kidnapping Hawks. Hold on. Sherry Papini charges. Oh, okay. She was charged with mail fraud as she received over $30,000 from the California Victim Compensation Board. She was released from jail before a trial. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. Department of Justice. Sentenced to 18 months in prison for lying to federal agents about being kidnapped and defrauding the California Victim Compensation Board. So she's done federally. Yeah, Sherry Papini. She wasn't mad, though. It was very well organised. Her best response would be to cooperate. It absolutely would. It absolutely would. Will she have to pay law enforcement for time and resources? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. They'll get a good lawyer. Yeah, they will. They're well off. They're well off. I mean, you know, if she admits it to her parents, they'll lawyer up. All the more reason why the cops take the time and get their ducks in a row. I mean, it's not going to be a massive sentence. I mean, Sherry Papini, 18 months, and there's mail fraud involved in that. Will they pull a laundry stunt? Hope not. Hope not. Yeah, they could say she had a breakdown. They could do. But then again, Letitia Stoke tried to say that she was insane. That didn't work out for her, did it? Don't believe she'll get jail time. She may not. She may not. Like Sherry Papini, it was it's a federal case. So I don't know. I mean, has she been interviewed by the FBI? Carlee, I mean. If Carlee's been interviewed by the FBI and she's lied to the FBI, they're not going to take that lying down. They're really not. It's not some like local law enforcement. If the FBI, the Secret Service have been involved, they're not going to let all that lie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Premeditation. Even if you have you're in some kind of active mania and you make this snap decision to get on a bus, well, you don't plan it hours in advance and plan to ring 911 and your family to say that you saw this toddler and then fake a kidnap. You don't. You make an impulsive decision to do something rash. Not all of this planning. And we don't know the full story because he said that for her privacy, what he actually meant was to protect the integrity of their investigation. That's what he actually meant. but protect her privacy, they didn't give us all of the Google searches. So there's a whole lot more that we don't know. A whole lot more that we don't know. Her dad's a lawyer. Ah, is he? Oh, well. He'll have said, don't talk. He'll have said, don't talk. I mean, I'm sure that the parents, I'm sure that they must know by now. They must know by now. So yeah, I hope that she lies to the FBI. I hope that they charge her federally, and she does get punished for this. Because what it angers me, this isn't just a kid running off for a couple of days to go and party. This is a 25-year-old woman who is... do you think they'll release the rest of the searches after the investigation is complete? Maybe. Maybe. If there's charges, then those searches will be part of the discovery. Just a spoiled little rich girl wanted to get attention. I think she went to party somewhere. So it was Beyonce playing in Nashville. Beyonce. Nashville. What day would that have been? 15th? No. 13th. World Tour. Someone said that she was playing. July 13th. Oh, that's 2013. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Nashville's July concert calendar. Rhonda Vincent, whoever that is. Oh, anyway, I don't really care who was playing. But, yeah, I want to see the rest of the searches. I do. Imagine the atmosphere in that house, yeah. I mean, look. You know, this isn't a kid. This isn't a 16-year-old who's, you know, got some, like, teenage romance going and they want to go and hide away in a cabin for a couple of days, right? It's not that, is it? This is a 25-year-old woman who made a deliberate attempt to lie to the cops, lie to her family, steal from her workplace, and disappear, pretending that she'd been kidnapped, and maintain that lie once she got back. Exactly, Pam. Why not say I'm going to a concert? I don't know. Maybe she wasn't going to a concert. Maybe she was going somewhere else. Maybe she was going with a man who wasn't her boyfriend. Maybe she was going to meet someone who wasn't her boyfriend. I'd be fuming. I'd be absolutely fuming. I would march that kid, even though she's 25, I would march that kid to any media outlet that would have us, and I'd make her publicly apologize. And I'd say, you face the charges because, look, the police are overworked and underfunded. Anybody who would choose to make that amount of a ruse deserves to be publicly shamed. At the very least, even if there's no charges. So, yeah, going to a secret rendezvous. I think so. I think she I've really, that police chief said all I needed to know. All I needed to know came from that press conference. Even the things he didn't say, reading between the lines, they do not believe her. And there's no kidnapper, no child, no kidnapper. There would be a public, like when things were going on in my local area, right, where there was a few cases where it was always men who would pretend to faint. It wasn't the same guy every time. It was just this thing that went round, right, to either assault or rob. There was an instance of a sexual assault. There was an instance of a carjacking. These are all in Lancashire, right? I'm going back a few years, and the police were issuing, like all the local press were covering it, they were issuing, if you're driving alone, do not stop, you know, and giving public safety announcements. And I've not heard of any of these cases for quite a while now. But there's absolutely no sense in the story that she gave. No sense in it. They kidnapped her for 49 hours just to take some photos. Come on. Imagine local ginger balding white men getting side eyes for a few days. Yeah, that's true. You'd dye your hair, wouldn't you? And wear a cap. If I was a balding ginger guy in the Hoover area, I would be going to the shop to get some bleach for my hair, and I'd wear a cap. I'd go blonde. I feel really bad for her parents. I really would. Oh yeah, and play with her hair. Yeah. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I really do. I feel. I mean, look at the position they're in now. You know. It's just really sad. But it's answered the question for me. Because I was prepared to hold off, not say anything. I felt that I'd gone as far as I needed to go with speculation. I didn't want to, you know, if she really was kidnapped, however unlikely the scenario had been, I didn't want to say that she made this up if she really was kidnapped. But yeah, that press conference answered it for me. She's just a little liar who is way too old to be doing childish, selfish things like this. And look, as well as being just completely wasteful of public resources, like if you're in Alabama, your state taxes have gone paying for the cops investigating this supposed kidnap. I'd be furious. Your taxpayer dollars have gone to fund that. But also it's now more difficult for people who are kidnapped in unlikely scenarios. People, every time there's one of these stories, and thankfully the few and far between. Like I don't ever heard of Sherry Papini before this. But they make people side-eye actual victims. And that's not fair. Because actual people, actual victims do get kidnapped. And sometimes the situation is really bizarre. And kidnappers, thankfully, not common, but thankfully, you know, sometimes they are quite elaborate plans. But this is just ridiculous story. Boy who cried wolf, yeah. Just very, very, very selfish. Stella, it will be thousands. I mean, look, it's not just local, the Hoover PD. It's the state police, Secret Service, doing things with her phone. The FBI will have been involved. I mean, why was she looking up Amber Alerts? Amber Alerts are children, isn't it? So she was hoping there wasn't going to be too much of a palaver over this. But unfortunately for her, her parents were thinking that they were doing the right thing. Her brother was there on TikTok, and everybody got the message out, got the word out. Yeah, they would. They would have been all on overtime. They would. They would. The amount of cops that were out there, all the local searchers, people donating. I mean, yeah, and then the kidnappers just let her go. And didn't even take the $107 that was in her sock. Exactly, Twisted. Everybody did the right thing but one. There was only one person who's in the wrong here. Everybody from the police, the media, social media got on it. Everybody did the right thing except Carlee Russell, and that's really sad. Cheryl, live in Alabama, you're furious. I'd be absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming. Wasted time and resources away from cases that really, really deserve it. And made it harder in future for victims to be believed and get their stories out. It's really sad. So anyway, guys, I am going to go. So we've got some answers there. Sometimes these press conferences don't give us anything apart from more questions, but I've got a lot of answers from that press conference, and let's keep I'll just keep this on the back burner and wait to see what news comes out from the police. Selfish, spoilt woman, yeah, behaving like a child. Like, it's 25. Behaving like a 16-year-old, going off to a secret rendezvous, running away. Dear me. Dear me. All right, guys, I am going to go. I don't think I had any donations, but that's fine. That's fine. As long as you enjoyed the stream. If you were here for Madalina Cojocari, go back to the first, probably about the first 45 minutes of this stream. I talked about Madalina, which, of course, I will be continuing to follow her case. And let's see what comes next with this one. So I will be back tomorrow. What day is it tomorrow? Thursday. I'll be back with a recorded video tomorrow. Probably no live stream, just a recorded video tomorrow. There's a woman actually in Scotland that I'm going to do a video on. Just let me look to see if she's been found. I don't think she has. Hold on. She's called. I'm going to do a video on her. I've been meaning to do it for the last few days. She's from Kendal in the Lake District, but she's gone missing in Scotland. She's called Mary Monkman. She's 49 years old. And she was last seen on the shores of Loch Doon in Scotland. So she's not been found because the Scottish police are pretty good at updating their stuff. So I'm going to do a video on Mary, which will come out on this channel. So that's maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. And then there'll be the usual video on MichelleAfterDark as well. All right, guys. Thank you to the mods. Thank you for being respectful. Thank you for keeping me company. And got some answers. Naughty, naughty Carlee Russell. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. And I will speak to you tomorrow. Bye, guys.